Welcome to the Huntertown Veterans Day program, where we have the opportunity to honor the brave men and women who have and are currently serving our country. On July 4th, 1776, our forefathers bravely declared that the United States of America would forever be free.
Immediately, young men from throughout the new colonies courageously defended this land called America with everything they had, some even sacrificing their lives. It wasn't until many years later that an official Veterans Day was proclaimed to honor the men and women who have so ably served in our defense.
Today we honor them all, including those who stepped forward and bravely proclaimed, "We the people of the United States." Please stand as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Veterans Day is celebrated each year on November 11th because in 1918, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, World War I ended. To celebrate the end of such a bloody war, November 11th was known as Armistice Day. An armistice is an agreement to end a war as signed by all countries involved. November 11th was known as Armistice Day until 1954 when President Eisenhower changed it to Veterans Day, honoring all service members past and present.
Citizens and businesses from all over the country salute the brave veterans who bore the weight of unimaginable conditions, both at war and upon returning home. So on this Veterans Day, and on behalf of all the Huntertown staff, students, and parents, we humbly say thank you.
Thank you!
At this time, we would like to honor each branch of the military individually. Second grade classes will perform a flag routine to the song for each branch.
Hi, Wildcats. This year for Veterans Day, we have a special guest speaker. This person is a community member. This person is a sheriff on our Allen County Sheriff's Department. This person is a veteran, and this person is also a Huntertown parent. So I hope you enjoy this interview with Officer Gage. Hi, we're here with Officer Gage. You know Officer Gage. He's been in and out of the building here many times. Good part of Huntertown and Northwest Allen County Schools. And he's here to talk a little bit about Veterans Day and what Veterans Day means to him. So you know him as Officer Gage, but Officer Gage, you served in the military yourself, is that right?
Yes, Mr. Stancer. I served 4 years from 2007 to 2011.
Will you tell us a little bit about that experience? What was that like?
Well, it was difficult leaving family members behind for a little bit, but on the other side, it was exciting. The branch that I joined was the Navy, and I was able to travel the world. By the age of 20, I had visited 7 different countries, including some that I will never visit ever again, so I was very fortunate enough to be able to do that, such as Dubai, Portugal, France, Italy, those countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many branches of the military are there?
You got the Coast Guard, you got the Navy, you've got the Army, you've got the Marines, and you got the Air Force.
So out of 5 branches, how did you choose the Navy?
I think the Navy was the best fit for me for what I wanted to do when I got out, and I wasn't sure I wanted to be a police officer until after I got out of the military. But I went into the Navy as a firefighter, a shipboard firefighter. I was able to live on an aircraft carrier and complete those duties more like a first responder, kind of like out here in this world. You have firefighters and police officers. I was like a first responder on an aircraft carrier where there's 5,000 people on deployment. So it's like a small city, essentially.
Yeah. And so what was one of your primary jobs while you were in the Navy?
Some of the biggest things that we did were was keeping up with the firefighting systems. So sprinkler heads and anything that will put out fires. A fire is your worst enemy on board a ship at sea. It's not like we can call a fire department to come to us because we're out in the ocean. So we are our own firefighters, and we have to make sure all of our fire systems work correctly. I was classified as an engineer. But then when a fire broke out, if one did break out, we would dress up in our firefighting gear, put on our packs, and we would go and we would try and put the fire out as quick as possible.
Yeah.
We also responded to medical emergencies. To anybody that may have fallen or passed out or broke some bones. We did stuff like that as well.
Yeah, great. When you're in the Navy, you live on the ship, is that right?
That's right. We actually live on the ship. Now, I know a lot of the school here probably has seen our office before, but in an office your size, we probably slept between 35 and 40 sailors.
Wow. So are they bunk beds? Is that how that works?
Yep. So you have a low bunk, a middle bunk, and a top bunk, and they're just sectioned off into cubicles. Pretty small, tiny space.
Yeah. And which bunk were you on?
I was in the middle bunk.
Okay.
Thankfully, it was easier to get in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But of course, when I was a younger sailor, I had to start off on the top bunk. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Work your way down, I guess.
Work your way down. Yep. That's correct.
So living on a ship is probably a lot different than living in a house. So what was the hardest thing to get used to?
I would say it was the close quarters, living closely with other people on board that ship. The ship was everything. I mean, as soon as you woke up, from the minute you woke up, you brushed your teeth, you shaved your face, and you got dressed. And then once you stepped outside of your living quarters where you lived, so imagine me stepping outside of your office, and then boom, I'm at work. It became a routine. The first 2 or 3 days at sea always went slow, but after that, a week went by quick, and then next thing you know, a month went by, and then 3 months go by, and then as time kept going on and on, the deployment was over. 6 or 7 months was gone just like that.
Yeah. So we're at school for 5 days, and then we get a weekend. Did you ever get time off while you were serving?
No, I didn't, and that was all based upon who you actually worked for. But for my job, there was no time off. It was 12 hours a day from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed, but really there's not much else you can do out in the middle of the ocean. So.
Yeah, wow. On Veterans Day, we talk a lot about patriotism. So tell us a little bit about what patriotism means to you as someone who has served.
Yeah, patriotism to me means being supportive and having pride in your country, loving where you live, and just kind of being like, yeah, I'm an American and I'm proud because we're free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. I think sometimes we think about patriotism as an adult characteristic, but kids can show patriotism too, right?
Yeah,
How can
absolutely.
Huntertown students show their patriotism?
Oh, Wildcats can show patriotism by being happy and proud during the Pledge of Allegiance. That's one of the first things I'm sure you do every morning is say the Pledge of Allegiance, and we do that at Carroll Middle School and all of the other elementaries as well. Smiling, saying it proud, and just being happy. If you ever see a service member, now I don't know if the Huntertown students have ever seen a service member before. Some haven't, but you have your different uniforms for every branch that you serve. But it's pretty recognizable, and you could say they're almost dressed kind of funny, kind of like me. If you're looking at me like a kindergartner or a first grader, you might think I'm dressed funny. Service members can be dressed funny too. But you can thank them for their service, and that shows support, and that makes us very proud. Makes us think that we did something good to help keep this country free.
That's great. That's great. I've been at different places and seen someone in uniform, and people will come up to them and just say, "Thank you for your service."
Yes, it's very kind.
It's a simple statement, but it means a lot to people.
It's very nice, yes.
Yeah. At Huntertown, the lifelines are very important to us. Our lifeline for the month of October is problem solving. Next month, when we move into November, the lifeline will be joy. So tell us about what lifelines were important to you as someone who serves in the military.
Yeah, so military, it's almost, you can imagine yourself as a very young person, 18 years old, and I wasn't taken away from my home. I voluntarily left my home to go serve my country. But being such a young kid, I obviously would miss my family back home, my dad and my brother and sisters, and my girlfriend, who's now my wife. And family was really a big lifeline, and just being able to contact them. On deployment, it was very hard to call them sometimes. It may cost $20 for a 3-minute conversation, but it was well worth $20. I make that phone call every week if I could. Sometimes you could, and sometimes we were very limited to how much we could actually contact home while we were overseas, because we had security measures too that we had to follow as well, as far as like we couldn't tell where we were at, we couldn't say certain things because we were doing a mission in the military. Family is an important lifeline. Friends, you meet new friends. So just like some kindergartners come in here for the first time, they meet brand new people, brand new faces, and meet lots of new friends. In the military, you step into different areas of the military, and you start off with like your basic training, and then your school, and then you go and actually do your job. So you meet friends along the way, and your friends kind of help pick you up, and you gotta support each other. It's a great thing to have, because now I have some of those friends for the rest of my life, my lifetime friends, and I keep in touch with them and see how their families are doing.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. When I think about someone who serves in the military, the word sacrifice comes to mind. And I know that you mentioned that you sacrificed some time away from your family, some time away from home, to be able to serve and to serve your country and to support us and to be able to give us the freedoms that we enjoy today. So for that, I just wanted to say, Officer Gage, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Each Veterans Day, Huntertown has honored our veterans by creating a white table display. Here to tell us more about what this display represents is a 3rd grade teacher, Miss Charlton.
Good morning, Huntertown. Have you ever been to a Chick-fil-A around Veterans Day and you noticed there was a small white table that was set up, but nobody was sitting at it? Well, there's a special reason for that small white table. The small table is used to show one soldier's lonely battle against many. We cover it with a white cloth to honor a soldier's pure heart when he answers his country's call of duty. There is a lemon slice and grains of salt on the plate to show the captive soldier's bitter fate and the tears of families waiting for their loved ones to return. We pull up an empty chair to recognize the missing soldiers who are not here. We lay a black napkin for the sorrow of captivity and turn over a glass for the meal that will never be eaten. We place a white candle for peace, and finally, a red rose in a vase tied with a red ribbon for the hope that all of our missing will return someday. The next time you are out in our community, check out the small white table. if you happen to be at a Chick-fil-A. Happy Veterans Day.
Hi, Wildcats. We did something special this year for Veterans Day. We created a wall of courage. You've seen it going up in the cafeteria. You all took a star and you either decorated it with a special message to our veterans, or you made it personal by showing some pictures of your loved ones who have served in the armed forces. So take a few minutes to take a look at our wall of courage, and thank you for your support and the time that you put into making this great. I wanted to take a minute to thank all of the adults that made this Veterans Day program possible. Mrs. Charlton, Mrs. Klar, Mrs. Andorfer, Mrs. Hudson, Officer Gage, thank you for the time that you put into this in making our Veterans Day program special. It was a little different than it has been in the past, but it was a great one, and I appreciate all the effort that you put into it. For all of our families watching at home, if you are a veteran, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for your service. The things that we're able to do here at Huntertown just wouldn't be possible without the sacrifice that you've made. So thank you so much for all you've done to serve your country, and you've made us proud. Thanks so much. And students, don't forget, if you see a veteran, make sure you thank a veteran. Have a great Veterans Day, everybody.
Thank you all for watching, and if you get the opportunity, be sure to thank a veteran today.